we gonna have a good time and keep you in the know. Let all your trouble go. In the know, in the know, in the know. In the know, in the know, in the know. In the know, in the know, in the know.
We are live. We in the studio. Hey, hey. It's another Saturday. Listen, this is going to be a good one, y'all. I'm telling you. I got somebody in the studio who's going to show you how Jacksonville is elevating, okay? We know there's a lot of things that are happening in the city. And this guy, I am so favored. I think about all the cool people that I know. This guy is home. He is back in Jacksonville, and we're going to get to hear a lot of things that he and his bride-to-be are going to be doing for us so we can love our city even more. So stay tuned to the In the Know Radio Show, happening in about 60 seconds. So tell a friend. 4 or 5 seconds. We've got a treat coming your way, a live broadcast for the next hour. So why don't you listen and This is my cousin.
Oh, wow.
And my brother did the track. So they killed it. So I always look at my guests' response when they hear it. I'm looking at their movement like, oh, it's a hit, because it's like, okay. That's how you know, like, yeah, we got a little something here. Let all your troubles go. Hey. This is the place to be. Station radio station, the victory. Whoop. Lovely. Lovely.
Love Valley.
Love Valley.
Love Valley.
Is your book out now?
It's finished, but it's being revised. So,
Okay.
so it's done, but I've grown a little bit through it. So.
Michellita Taylor, that's me, everybody, and welcome to the In the Know radio show. I'm so excited to say the victory station. So thank you for tuning in on this Saturday, the day before Mother's Day. Okay, let's get it together, everybody. If you have not got mommy her stuff, that's mom, grandma, godma, play mom, all the mamas. Make sure you are out there in those streets getting them something to shower them for tomorrow. They deserve it. We are super women, so give us something, all right? Make sure you make that sacrifice, even if it's a phone call or a meal. Make sure you display that love to them because we do it all year long, all right? So make sure you do that. But today, today isn't as sunny as it has been, but that's okay. It's Saturday, and there's so many things that's happening in our city. And again, we are just so glad that you chose to tune in and spend some time with us. And today, like every Saturday, y'all know I'll be bringing in these hidden jewels, and I have one today. I am so excited to have this man in the studio and his bride to be, because I really believe believe they are going to enlighten us, inspire us, and motivate us to continue to elevate in Jacksonville. So with no further ado, Deshaun Davis, a Detroit native, is an award-winning filmmaker, executive producer, author, and growth architect. I love that. Whose work bridges film, fashion, and community impact. He has produced content for major brands like Sony Pictures, Walmart, the NBA, and the NFL, and once led a $12 million fundraiser for a tech school serving underserved teens. As co-founder of the Cove Social Club and founder of the national streetwear brand Elevate, Deshaun blends culture, creativity, and entrepreneurship. He also serves as Director of Operations for the Performers Academy, empowering youth through the arts, and is the author of Discovering Why, a guide to finding purpose. Through initiatives like his mentor group 23, he champions emotional wellness, healthy families, and the next generation of cultural leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, clap it up, snap it up for my friend, Deshaun Davis.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I salute you.
Man,
I give you your flowers for all the things that you have just started to do, because you're just getting started.
Just getting started.
And I have to say, welcome back to Jax.
Back in do.
Okay, because this man was been bi-coastal for a little bit, and the reason he has been bi-coastal is she's sitting right here in the studio, looking so lovely. So thank you for bringing it back home. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Yeah, excellent. Just loving being back in Jacksonville. And, you know, it's interesting how when you come back, you see the roots that you were part of, and it's a joy to be back.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
You ready for Mom's Day tomorrow?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
ready. Looking forward to celebrating my mom, and looking forward to passing the due appreciation for the power of the woman. Absolutely.
Do y'all have any traditions, your family, for Mom, that you do, or something that she knows she can expect to receive?
You know, we don't have many traditions because, you know, my mama don't fall asleep. Okay. And you know, I remember one time I took her on Mother's Day to a paint and sip kind of vibe, and she was good for about 30 minutes. After that, I was sitting there literally painting, and she's asleep with the paintbrush in her hand. So we have to do it very early with Mom.
Gotcha. And they train us right, because I kind of same. I know what Mama likes, and it's like I want to risk it for this particular day. We bless moms throughout the year, right? But Mother's Day is like, let's stick to the script. Let's gotta stick to the script. You know, she like flowers, she like her meals, she like her, just stick to the script unless she gives you permission to deviate, because we don't want to mess up her day. Oh man, well Deshaun, you have so many incredible things that's happening. Tell us a little bit about your journey, because again, you haven't been kind of cemented here in Jacksonville for a little bit. So you've been busy. Tell us what you've been up to.
Well, you know, life has a way of, I think, walking you into things that you may not be prepared for. And I think just by the grace of God, you know, all things have been working together.
Yes.
You know, and I can't say that everything that I've done has been intentional. I think a lot of times, you know, you're kind of clumsy in your approach, and it ends up with falling into something that becomes purposeful.
Right.
At least that's been for me the case, you know. So definitely a lot of roots here in the city of Jacksonville. Came down here in '97 to help my brother.
And who was your brother?
Bishop George Davis.
The Bishop George Davis. Impact Church. Shout out.
Church. Came down here to help him start that ministry. I think he started with like 12 people. And I came down and just was fresh out of ministry school. Came down to support him. And grew there. I think grew up in a lot of ways there. And you know, loved my brother and had the opportunity of being under his tutelage, you know, in service. And so from there, actually, ironically, one of the responsibilities I had there was media. You know, so he had to have some tape covers design, things of that nature. And I had never done anything like that. So
You taking us back? He said tape, y'all. Tapes.
Yeah, tapes. Yeah.
Those of our new generational listeners. There was something called the cassette tape.
You don't know what that is.
And then CDs. There's been a journey of media.
And so some of the things he needed, we had to figure out how to do. Because we had to do ministry, you don't have the resources to do everything. So I learned how to do it, and that became my introduction to the industry. I became from designer to editor to producer, and that started the journey of something that I love that turned into a 20+ year career. And so that sent me around to different places because as a director, producer, typically as you're starting, you go to where the projects are.
Right.
And so those projects have kind of led me in different cities, let me managing different shows from television to film. And so that kind of sent me in a lot of directions. And quite honestly, some of that direction was sent, I was sent into was in response to me trying to figure out who I am, me trying to discover, what is all of this creativity for, and so that journey was often with some bumps and some bruises, as I began to navigate things that, have been difficult for me in my life. So, but all of that brought us back, to Jacksonville. I went to, on a journey to the West Coast to meet this young lady that I didn't think was real when I first met her. Shout out to Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook dating app. Because, so that's how we met. But let me tell a quick story about that.
Yes,
okay, so,
please.
So for me, my challenge in life has been relationship. Because you just not necessarily having all of the skills to navigate that, and so I went through relationships and marriages and the ups and downs of all of that and recovering from all of that, and then one day I started to see a common denominator in these relationships. I was like, are these exes getting together and talking about me? Why do they all share the same problem? What is it? And then I realized, oh, it's me. Right? And so then I took a 7-year journey, 7 years of being single and just going in and through therapy and psychologists and just the word and prayer and just really going before God. And I reset my entire compass on how I saw relationships.
Love that.
And so that set me on this journey. And one day, it must have been the Lord.
We give him all the credit.
I heard Facebook day. Okay.
And it was a season for that.
It was a season.
Because come on, some people be out there and this is not the right time. You need to delete your profile. And you need to go on a hiatus, like Sean did.
Because that work allowed me to know what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a broken state, you're trying to find something, you're gonna find some brokenness. And then you have these trauma bonds that you think is connection. Right. And so I was on Facebook dating, and I pulled up this girl, and she was too fine for me to believe she was real.
Like, why is she on here?
This ain't nobody on here. I said, what does she do? Oh, she's an actress. Oh, okay, she's an actress. And so I didn't believe it. So I spoke to her through there, and she, responded to me. And I was like, who's over here trying to sell me a vacuum cleaner? Something on the other side of this ain't real. And so I honestly just kind of fumbled the bag and didn't follow up with her because I didn't think she was real, and didn't talk to her for a year.
Wow.
And 1 year later, I got the courage to just head back to see if she was possibly still there. And she gave me the cold shoulder. It was like, I know you didn't, right? And so I said,
you fumbled. Why are you back?
And so that turned into a conversation, and that turned into a real friendship that moved me back to the West Coast to pursue and to date her and to understand her and to learn her. And to for the first time do relationships totally different. There are things that we did and we haven't done. I'm not even gonna say what it was that we ain't done.
Come on.
But there's some things that we hadn't done that because I wanted to reset. I wanted to say, let's find out if this love can be real, or we can build something on some true foundations.
That's right.
And
putting God first.
Putting God first. And he just set me up with an amazing woman that has changed my life. And our careers and our vision is in sync.
Everything is in alignment. A couple of things you've been saying that I'm just seeing a pattern is, number one, service. So you being able to serve your brother, meeting a need in a capacity you didn't know that you had the ability to even do, but because that need was there, you were committed to making sure that need was met. that took you on the journey to your
Yeah.
purpose. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times people in the faith, people generally just don't know what to do with their lives.
Right.
And so one of the first places to start is by serving, just showing up, being in
100%.
that place,
100%.
figuring it out. Because again, you were given a task that you didn't have any history on. So you could have said, I don't want to do this. Give me something else that's a little more comfortable for me to do. But you're like, you know what, no, I'm gonna figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Figured it out, and now it's become a success. And then the second thing was resetting. When you serve, when you've done something for a little bit, we can get a little bit comfortable, we can get complacent, but life is changing. God's plan is evolving. So sometimes we have to be okay with shifting a little bit. And so your ability to reset, looking at the things and areas that you may have fallen short in, only to be ready for the next stage.
You know, I think I always tell guys, you know, I mentor guys in the work that I do, and I always tell people, there's got to be a season where you just serve somebody else.
Yeah.
There's got to be seasons where you can look back and point to some areas where you just sat down and surrendered yourself to somebody else and allowed yourself to be a student.
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot. It's like, if you don't have some student years, then where did you get what you know from?
Yeah.
You know, where did you? And I thank God for the times I sat under my brother. Those years have formed who I am. You know, the lessons of just watching the behind the scenes.
Yes.
Watching the things that nobody sees.
Yes.
You know, watching the things that, you know, I can remember when I was growing up in Detroit, and my brother was in ministry school, and I was on the top floor and he was in the basement. And 5:30 in the morning, like clockwork, I would hear him worshiping God. I didn't know nothing about worship. We came from the Baptist. Okay, we didn't know. You know, and my roots are. That was my roots, and I respect my roots. But I didn't understand a lot of things about this worship and stuff. And I remember, I don't think I ever told this story publicly, but I remember I had too much pride to tell him I was learning from him, because I hadn't gotten locked in yet. But I can remember him waking up worshiping God in the basement. And I used to hear it through the vents. And so I used to put my ear down on the vents, and I used to worship with him. And that's how I learned. That was my beginning learning of what this was like. And so a lot of my foundational roots came from watching a man do things before there were any glamour, before there was any big buildings, before there was it was just like him living his life that way. And it taught me, and it started my foundation.
Wow. And that seed being planted during that time that was able to blossom later in life, probably during some of the darkest points of your life. You knew, okay, this is the space that I need to go to. This is the person that I need to run to get that clarity for what the next season is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was, you know, it's something about learning from somebody, but watching somebody do it, it hits different. You know, so I was able to lock into the wisdom I would get from him and other leaders that I surrendered to. Because I could see their story, I could see them working through real life. You know, so it wasn't just about Sunday morning. You know, it was about, this is my real life. I'm a real person. I have real issues and real challenges. I just trust the real God through all of them. And learning that by watching somebody, it literally is the tapestry of what grew me during the dark times.
So faith obviously is the firm foundation that you were able to build a lot of different things on. I mean, you've done, again, producing, directing. What role would you say as a growth architect? And tell us what that means to you. What role as a growth architect can faith-based principles drive sustainable things that can last, development, and purpose-driven leadership, you think, here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, from a growth architect standpoint, what that means for me is in every area, from an individual to business or whatever I do, there's always a foundation. And for me, that foundation is the story. Like, what is your story? And once we understand the story, we can then define an intentional path forward. You know, you can look at everything that I do and I can tell you the intention behind it. You know, I don't just jump into something. And that, I believe, is what has shaped success, because you can predict some things, you can measure some things, you can look at metrics, you can make adjustments and things like that. So growth for me is important as a fundamental reality to anything that you do. And I think that's what we're doing in the world of entrepreneurship and business, is really saying, okay, what's the ground floor like? For example, you know, working the work I do for the Performance Academy, you know, is connected to a passion of mine, which is, if you're going to make a difference in the world, where do you start?
Right.
You start with the children, you start with the kids, you start with the mindset of the future.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing with and that effort is giving my time and my energy and my the wisdom that God has given me to help shape the fundamentals of how that 12 to 18-year-old group is learning and how they develop, and what we just happen to use the arts as a way of helping them cope with what they may be dealing with. And that's a part of growth. That's a part of the trajectory of how you see the future is learning the value of what you do at the beginning.
I love the fact that you said that foundation is the story, because a lot of times when we get the story, the why a person does something, it does help to start to formulate a relationship. And so I know relationships is super important when we're talking about connection and building and business and partnership, things like that. How do you see that relationship building translating over when you're working with the children?
It's very interesting, you know, the children that we serve, they are so used to being disappointed. They're so used to being inconsistent. They're so used to having people tell them things that they're going to do that they don't do. Yeah. And so I learned in some of the failures I had as a young parent, the things that were inconsistent in me as a father, and I saw the damage that did to my own children. Right. And so me seeing that and, you know, taking time to reset and recover that turned into a better relationship with my children, that turned into better impact I see in their lives, which taught me how to do that now for others. So it's and I tell my team, and I try to tell everybody that we're working with, you know, be consistent with these kids. You know, if we're going to do one thing, let's keep doing it the same way. If we're telling them we're going to do something, let's be there. Let's try to reinforce these fundamentals.
Because they hold us accountable.
They're going to hold it.
You said you were going to do it. And those excuses, they don't carry any weight. Right. We have to continue to follow through.
Right, absolutely.
Man, so we're going to shift the conversation after this quick break. I always ask my guests to give me a couple songs of inspiration, because we know life gets tough. Right. And sometimes we don't have the words to express to the Lord, but He has music that we can use that will get to him on our behalf. So you gave me two songs, Glory by Sam Rivers and Come Through by Steve Rizzo. Which one would you like to start?
Let's go with Glory.
Okay.
I think that's appropriate.
Why is this one of your go-tos?
Because I think, you know, at the end of the day, you know, everything that I do is for His glory. Yeah. There's nothing, I wake up in the morning and everything I consider, how is this going to impact the kingdom? So that song resonates to me.
I love it. So enjoy Glory by Sam Rivers. Deshaun, you're different. Deshaun, I was trying to think when we first met. Do you remember?
I have no idea.
I don't remember, but
it was something.
We connected for something.
It was
short-lived, but we were doing a project or something.
It had something to do with Flex.
Okay.
I don't know.
What were we doing?
We didn't do anything with him, but it was something.
We just knew.
It was around the time when he was popping. I don't know. I don't know.
Did you ever work with Donovan Darius?
Nope.
I was trying to think last time. I was like, what? And then you moved, because we were working on something with a group, and then that's when you were traveling. Yep. It'll come back. Yep. But man, I'm excited. Like you different. And it's refreshing to see. And I know a lot of men, a lot of women on behalf of men too, are like, yes, we need to see more entrepreneurs who are worshipers and who are really laying all of the ideas down, all the success and failures down, and you can feel just the honor. That's just kind of what in our conversation, I can feel the honor that God is worthy of. And so yeah, this is good. So when we come back, we'll talk about the social club, we'll talk about the Cove, kind of what the mission is behind that. What that project looked like. I mean, because in Jacksonville, everybody's kind of popping up with different ventures. And so what that, experience has been like, and then of course how people can actually get connected. And yeah, now your mentor group, is that still happening right now? So we'll talk about that too.
Right now.
Okay. Good stuff. I don't think I've heard this song before. I'm familiar with Sam, but so what do you do in the church?
I I'm not anything right now.
Okay.
I just love celebration right now. But we have a church back home that was running celebration, not.
We just
Yeah.
members right
I
now.
know.
That's
We
good.
go ahead and say, yeah.
That's good. Sit
Yeah,
down.
just members.
Sit down. Yeah, there's plenty of time for that. I know even I ebb and flow with my involvement. I'm on the worship team, but
But I also want to make sure that I have time to be on a committee. So I don't want to commit if I'm not able to do it. So I just really need to do it.
But I will say, what is refreshing about our ministry, whatever you can do is good. So there's no like, you weren't here last week. We haven't seen you in a while. There's none of that. It's no stress. Oh, once a month, that's fine. See you in 2 weeks. Oh, that's fine. It's whatever, because we're really big on family orientation
Okay.
and making sure that people feel, fed and whole.
Yeah.
So you would never get that weight
Oh,
of
that's good. That's good to
expectation
know.
if you do commit and you say,
Is the door locked?
and that was Glory by Sam Rivers, one of our songs of choice for our guests in the studio today, Deshaun Davis, who is back in the city with a lot of new businesses. And he's going to actually talk to us right now about a new business that just opened up that I think a lot of us are going to be able to enjoy. Tell us about
Yes.
the Cove.
The Cove.
How did the name come about?
So this is it. Don't look at me. So it's very interesting. The name The Cove started because when I was in California, I had a picture that's probably one day going to surface.
Okay.
Where it was outside of our patio. I would go there and I would have my computer and I would work and I would just kind of relax out there. And we called it The Cove. And so it was just always like and if you think about the word, it's a safe space.
Yeah.
It's, so yeah, it was The Cove. So had always had aspirations for doing social club environments and things that people could come and have a luxury experience. So it's always been in my mind as to what would happen. And so then we come here and I came here because of the Performance Academy. That was initially the reason. And throughout that process, I've always been looking at ways to expand the things inside of me and when the season for doing different things. And I was introduced to Nicole Brown because we were looking at some different venues and different things. And she came over to the facility, and when we began to talk, it's just our visions were like just locked in. She's a former author, as well as a playwright of her own. So she got that side of her, and she's a very successful person in the real estate space, and our energy just it was just the beginning and the end. And so we began to talk, and she's a believer, and we began to just talk about our visions in the future. Next thing you know, we were partners.
How did faith play a part in the birthing of the Cove?
Yeah, faith played a major part because, I think in any kind of effort, if you are attempting to build something with somebody and there is no connection, it stifles the ability for you to have common ground to build. And so our faith, I think, I feel like, I think it was Mary and Elizabeth, when Mary was pregnant and she walked into Elizabeth and they both knew something. It's that kind of thing.
Yes.
So we met, it was the energy of just knowing we may not know all of the details, but there's something about this that's right.
Yeah.
And that began to forge our relationship.
And that's so good too, because like in any relationship, all the time, we need something bigger than our ability to make it work. Because when you're working with someone, there will be some turmoil. There's gonna be some bumps in the road. And so unfortunately, sometimes it is the other person that may seem to be the bump in the road.
Yeah.
But because you both are believers, your foundation is on God, to go to God on their behalf. Like, listen, God, okay, she missed it. She should have, how do I handle this situation? As to not, break up that relationship for this bigger mission that you have.
Yeah, I would question any business relationship, anything that I would get into. If you're not connected to something bigger than you, then you're too limited for this to be successful.
Yes.
So that was one of the things that made me really see that we could work. And then it also was interesting that as we began to create our plan, there was a common connection.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a fight because we both were wired the same way. And so that turned into us really seeing the future and what we can create. And no better place to create it than in Jacksonville.
Yes.
So I'm committed to it.
And there's so many wonderful things that are happening in Jacksonville, a lot of different companies, restaurants, new ventures that are happening. So talk to us about, and I'm all about luxury, okay? Because we like a good, feel good, VIP experience, right? So
Absolutely.
what makes this, and it just kind of, just paint the picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just paint the picture, but let us feel like we are there. So we're pulling up in the parking lot. What do we see?
Well, when you walk in, one of the things that you should experience is that our mission is service. Like if you say, what are we doing? What are we selling? We're selling service. We're providing service. And I believe service done the right way is luxury. So if you the way you think about it, you go somewhere and the reason you pay so much to be somewhere is because how it makes you feel,
Right.
you know, and so that's our goal, is to provide a luxury experience. And so we cater that experience to people that have connected with us as members. So if you become a member, you're saying, hey, I want this experience and I'm looking to be in this environment. And then we in turn this experience into something that serves you and your interests and your family. So we have a consistent amount of events that we're going to be putting on every month. So as a member, you'll get a list. You'll be a part of our portal that's called the Vault. Where you'll go in, you'll be able to see things going on,
Okay.
and how you can get involved. And so when you walk in, you're going to notice that there's intention in the whole building.
Yeah.
You're going to see mirrors around the wall. You're going to see certain cool artifacts of different things, and all of it is connected to the purpose behind what we're doing. You know, from the restrooms to every aspect, we have an area that's dedicated to workspace. So you can come in there and work, and get on the internet, and have a coffee, and Danish, and that's just important to us that you walk away with the feeling that you're somewhere else, you're in a special place.
So this is a members only venue.
Yes.
And they would, I guess, kind of have like a calendar of events or different things that they're going to be having. Will they be able to invite other people?
Absolutely. Yeah, the vendors will, if you're as a member, you can also have another guest that comes along that you can also register within the confines of your relationship with us. But there's also events that we're doing for the public as well. We call them guest experiences, which you come in and kind of see what we're doing and what the value of being a member. I think it's hard for you to come and witness this and not say, hey, everybody that comes for the first time, like, what does it mean?
Right.
Because they enjoy the caliber of the kind of things that we're doing.
What makes the Cove different than other social clubs here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, well, one of the things that makes it different is some of the things that we provide in our sticks and stones area. We provide luxury in a way that some of the guys that come, because that area is kind of focused on those guys, they come in there and get therapy. So you can sit down, have a good time, have a meal, and we have therapists that are on our team that you can call and come sit down and talk to you while you're watching the game. If that's what you need.
Wow.
We have black car services that are connected to the experience as well. We'll pick you up, you know, and bring you back if you're in the city and you're downtown at a game or something. You want to come and relax, or you want to come and just have a quick meal and calm yourself before you hit the airport. You can come through here there with us. We'll take you to the airport. So service, you're going to see. You know, we have a chef's table.
Oh, I'm gonna just read that.
Well, there you go.
Because I have a pamphlet and it has the membership benefits. Here we go. Tax strategy benefits.
Yeah.
Networking. Discounted event space.
Yeah.
So people can do events there. Private parties, events. I love that. Cultivated events, private brunch, art and wine, cake decorating, cooking classes. Wow.
Absolutely.
So this definitely is just more than just showing up, sitting around, having a conversation and leaving. Like this is a place where a person can be there for a few hours.
Absolutely. And we want them to know that your membership comes with those benefits. By being a member, this is a tax write-off. So
Okay.
you got, because we got classes, we got enrichment things, business coaching, and a lot of different things that we're adding to the service.
And this is men and women.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is, and then this is, you know, not just specific to one type of vocation or what, it's all about wanting to have that exclusivity and
Absolutely.
having those safe spaces because people who do work in particular jobs, I mean, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
You can't just always kind of socialize and
Right.
just be with everyone because of the demand or the weight of the title that you have. And so individuals that are just looking for a place to say, I just need a minute,
Right,
but
for sure.
I don't want to be home.
Right, for
I
sure.
can go here and be able to be entertained
Mhm.
or, you know, to get the therapy and a great meal, like you said. Now, there's something else that's happening, Mr. Davis.
Talk about it.
It says a late night live
What you say?
talk show with Deshaun Davis.
Oh, who is that?
Okay, so I am interviewing an interviewer as well.
Right
This
now.
is exciting.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
see LA all over this. It's giving LA. Tell us about this.
And this is one I'm super excited about. This is a long time coming. You know, I've got a pedigree as a director of interviewing people.
Yeah.
My career, 20 years as a director. That's what you do. You're talking to people, you're bringing out their life stories, and you know, and in ministry for the years I've been in ministry, it's the same thing too. You know, counseling. So I've always been doing the same thing. Late Night Live is going to be special because this is finally the opportunity for me to create an experience where we get a chance to go into deep conversations with people and ask them questions that you may not hear on regular television. And I'm watching sometimes some of the people that I admire and they get on the show, and I'm just hoping that they would ask some different things, like, can I really find out what you're about?
Right.
And so we're going to do that. You know,
Okay.
we're going to have, you know, it's just like your Tonight Show. You're going to come out, there's a monologue, you'll see a comedian come, you'll see live music, you'll see the band. I got a surprise I'm working on that for my band leader that I can't talk about right now, but it's super special. And then, you know, and then it's just a time for us to be in that live environment, and it's going to be very exciting. I think people will talk about it, and we'd love to be a part of it.
Deshaun, you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great things going on.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this queen over here. How do you maintain, and I don't use the word balance,
Right.
how do you orbit
Yeah.
all of these responsibilities and in relationship and service to church and family as a father?
Yeah.
What does that orbiting look like for you? And then what does it look like in terms of self-care for you?
Well, I don't believe in balance as a method. I believe you have to be interbalanced with your life. You know, so I think when you find a partner, you've got to make sure that there's a like consciousness of what you're doing, so that your life can be the life you live, and it's not a whole lot of difference in what you do.
Right.
You know, she's my best friend. We talk about every business deal, everything I'm doing. She's, you know, part of the Cove, and she's actually the director of the Experience for All members. So everything we do is connected.
Yeah.
So I think you have to do that. You know, with my kids work with me at times. You know, my son and we've got a Telly Award for a commercial we did together. So
Yes.
I literally intentionally bring everybody into the circle of what I'm doing, so that we can all benefit from that, but also so that it doesn't become something that is a strain from time.
Right.
You know, I tell people all the time, you know, you got to learn how to do one thing.
Come on.
And really what I do,
do it well.
and I may do a lot of things. You see, and you look at the list of things I do, you may think I do a lot of things, but I can really show you, not on this show because we ain't got no time, but I can show you how I really just do one thing.
Yeah.
And that one thing is so aligned that it touches everything.
Everything.
And so, like, for instance, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about my mentorship. I mean, part of the reason it works is because they have to be close to me.
Yeah.
I don't have time to schedule you every day and do all these. You got to do life with me in order for us to do this well. So I think the key is finding a way, when you know what you're here to do, finding a way to integrate everything you do into the thing that you do.
Right.
So that now, you know, my fiance and I, she's just graced, you know, just anointed, I believe, to be on this road with me. And so sometimes it takes sacrifices.
Right.
We're in a season in our life right now where we're building some things. So our time has to be done in a unique way. And so what I try to do is be clearly and communicate with her and make sure, you know, that what I'm doing, she knows is if I'm heavy in time on this side, she understands it's temporary. And then we just, you know, we work hard and we play hard, but it's because we have a plan, because we have a vision, because we know where we're going. And so yeah, it takes I'm a masterful planner. Like, if you saw my calendar every day, it's pretty much everything I do is on there, and that allows me to be really careful. And I always talk about and make sure that I'm doing what matters most. So what matters most to me is my family. Yeah. You know, and so because it didn't always matter most to me in the past. I had failures to represent that because I thought, you know, my career was most important and these other things. and I didn't invest in my family, and that ended up in divorce. It ended up in me feeling the pain of my bad choices, and my immaturity was revealed.
Yeah,
But when you reset and realign yourself and now do what matters most, and I ain't doing that no more.
that's right.
Okay, and so
And it's not too late. And that's
Right.
the great thing about it. You know, pivoting is not too long ago, and they mentioned how in their lifetime, all the different locations they had, all the jobs, they had this great spans of time. 10 years they did this, 20 years they did this, 30 years they did this. And so it's a beautiful thing to know that I can start again
for sure.
today,
For sure.
regardless of the failures of yesterday.
Yeah.
I can start again with great expectation that it's going to be successful.
I think the thing you do, you have to be prepared to learn from what went wrong. I talk to a lot of men about their relationships, and they're like, "Ah, she was crazy." I'm like, okay, well, what did you do?
With an S, crazy.
What did you do? And, you know, and ladies out there, if you're dating somebody and he's been in a relationship before, two things: if he can't tell you what he did wrong, and number two, if he can't point to a pattern of his fix and recovery from what he did wrong, you better move on.
Run, Forrest, run.
Because he should be able to say, he should be able to identify his failures in a relationship, own them, and show you a pattern of what he did to reset himself. Yeah, that's important.
And that's, again, it speaks to, again, the anchor. You're submitted, and when we are submitted to something that is larger and more important than us, God, that makes it easier to say, I was wrong. I shouldn't have did that. There's grace for that, though. Thank God I can change. I can go forward. So keeping the main person at the center of all these things is so important. And I love, again, your mentorship program 23. It really speaks to the accountability that you have on a consistent basis. Because when you know that someone's going to ask you about something, you do live a little differently. Tell us about that program.
Yeah, it's not for kids. So yeah, I have 4 families right now. Mainly it's directed to the guys, but the inception of the foundation was, okay, if we're going to do this, the first thing I need to do is meet with your wives. So we sat down with the wives and the husbands in one room, and we all said, hey, this is what we're about to do. And everything that we're doing, they're going to be accountable to, because the wives don't know.
Come on.
And so, you know, you can ask a guy a question, but, you know, the wife knew the truth.
Okay.
So, like, we're going to do this, then you got to be real
transparency.
Be transparent. And then on the same thing, one of the biggest things that I'm proud of is the transparency that I'm requiring of them. I am doing it in front of them. So my fiance is a part of the group chats, you know, so I always tell her, if I tell them something or I'm doing something that I'm not living, call it, speak on it, put it in the chat, tell somebody, you know, so that accountability is helping them. It's hard, because it forces them to realize what they didn't know, but it does turn into something that changes in their family. And it's one of the joys that I enjoy, is, you know, and 23 comes from 1 Corinthians 9:19 through 23. Paul talked about, if you ever read that in the Message Bible, he really talks about his intention of being a part of the mission and not just talking about it, and really being a person that lives this life. And so from there, came to 23, and we're deep in it all, and it's exciting.
This is awesome. This is awesome. And that sounds liberating as well. Some would think it would be bondage when a person knows all your business. And they're like, well, you didn't do this, but you did this. But it's really freedom.
The freedom that happens when you can't communicate to your spouse and someone else is in the middle to help you do that. Because a lot of times relationship issues are translation issues. I thought you said this. I thought you did. No, I didn't. But to be able to have somebody that can mediate and go on your behalf and say, no, this is what he's trying to say. No, this is what she's trying to say. It ends up turning into something that you have a little more grace for, because you're not stuck on how it was presented to you by the person that is aggravating you with their tone.
Coming up with your own conclusions
100%,
in your
100%.
mind. Oh my goodness. So we have one more break, and then we're gonna end with a bang.
Okay.
So the last song that you get was "Come Through."
Come on.
"Come Through" by Steve Rizzo. Tell us about this song.
That song just speaks to me. I think about, you know, sometimes when you get down and depressed and sad. I get depressed. Hello.
Come on, who doesn't?
I get depressed. I get sad sometimes. I've dealt with that all my life. But just the memory that God always comes through. It's the thought that no matter how dark it got, he's always been there. And so when I hear that, I just bob my head. Hey. You know, here we go again.
Here we go. Listen, enjoy "Come Through." We'll be right back. I love that. So good. So good. So how long has the mentorship program been going?
3 months,
Okay.
4 months.
4
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
It's
Is there a
not- it's-
timeline for it, or it's just
It's a
kind of-
year. It's a year. They all get an NDA. They all get a contract.
Wow.
And if they don't do what we're talking about, it's $10,000.
What you say?
Yeah, so I do it free for a year.
$10,000.
$10,000. If you come off of this, because I don't have time to wait. So
Wow.
I'm gonna give you my time.
Yeah.
But if you squander it, you gotta pay for what you did.
Right.
So, and they all signed, y'all in contract, and it's been so successful that the ladies are like, hey, can we do she 23? Because can we get when we get out?
Yes.
And I have time where, we'll get with the wives, just me and her and the wives, and just talk, and they'll be able to say, how do I do this? I can't get, I'm trying to tell them this.
Yeah.
And they just.
And I'm more of the female
Yeah.
side of it.
Yeah. She can speak to like, okay, this is what happens with us, and she can tell them things that have worked for me and things that I live and it's like, but it's not for somebody that's trying to hide something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, look, here are all
You
the
want to be
cards.
glass.
This is everything's on the table. I need to learn some things. And
Yeah.
So, it's at times. I mean, I had grown men sit in front of me crying and just breaking down as they break through some things that they've never had to really face. And it's like to see them just be accountable, it's so I have so much respect.
And I love it. I was just talking to my best friend before I came in here. She's been through some things, and I'm still hopeful because I believe in marriage. I believe in godly, and I'm so excited. I mean, whatever's going to happen, but I believe it. But these types of conversations and programs, it just confirms how the institution, however ugly it may look, it is still desirable and it's still honorable. And so the fact that you guys are doing this program to really make sure that there's still a system in place to protect it is so important.
We gotta do it the right way though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We can shuck and jive and cater to our emotions and do it the wrong way.
Oh yeah.
And it becomes something you don't want to keep.
For sure.
But when you align it the right way, have the right safeguards in place,
Yes.
it turns into something that I've been married before, but I've never appreciated it until now because of the things I didn't know.
Yeah.
And even the things I did know that I didn't put in place made it all, I put too much pressure on what it was supposed to be. I was too heavy as a husband. I expected too much.
Yeah.
And it was something that was supposed to be a joy-filled exchange that I had the wrong mindset for.
Right. And it's unlearning too.
Oh man.
Because you're a product of your environment, you're a product of your family, what you watch, your friends. So, and you trust those people until you try what they said and it's not working. The outcome isn't what you thought. So it's like really tearing down that information and behavior and to learn it the right way that's a beautiful process. That's a beautiful process.
Especially I think churches hurt us too sometimes because we digested information the wrong way. And we think we can just make her like her instead of understanding I gotta be him. If that's what I'm gonna get. Make you like pastor's wife. If I'm not pastor, in my circle be that way. So,
Right. My goodness. I love that. I love that so much. Well, I pray blessings upon it. I look forward to something for the singles too. Praise the Lord. Getting ready. So I know how to be single real well. I got masters in that.
That's the thing. I have no living testimony in 7 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah, I just literally, we both, that's what made it work for us so well, because we were both ready because we had cleared our heart. We were like, I would have never been ready for her.
And that was come through by Steve Rizzo. Listen, I'm telling you, during these commercial breaks, the conversation, those who are on Facebook Live, they know that they're getting it all. But we just love it to know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. And when things get dark, we know he gonna come through. It might not be what we think, but he's always on time and he's always so sufficient in whatever it is that we need. And so, man, during the break, we were just talking about this mentorship that Deshaun has, him and his beautiful bride-to-be are heading up. And I just love what we're just talking about in terms of, again, keeping God first
and making sure our vision of what we think something should look like maintains its alignment with the Word of God. Because a lot of times when we're entering into new relationships, whether it is business, whether it is marriage, friendship, we come with ideals, and some of those ideals are the very weapons that can tear down something that can be so strong and so beautiful.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, one of the things I had to learn that I talk with my guys about is you got to know what you don't know. You know, and a lot of times we feel that we're supposed to be these men and we don't know what that means.
Right.
You know, when I was younger and I was married, there's no way in the world I should have been a husband. There's no way in the world I should have been somebody's father. I didn't know what that meant. You know, and so I walked into this shell of what I thought it was supposed to be, and all I did was create damage.
Wow.
You know, so understanding what that means as a single person, as a journey to learning what it means to be single. What does it mean to be ready? Like asking yourself one question: do you know your capacity? Do you know what you can handle? You know, these guys walk into these girls and she's fine. She's got these children and she's got this business. Bro, can you handle that? Can you manage a strong person's ego? Are you ready for that? And if you don't, then you're going to try to change it, and it's going to end up in something that you're recovering from.
Right.
So it's like those kind of things I had to realize, and the reason for me that it came to me why I got it wasn't because I just figured it out one day. I went and sat under somebody else. You know, my therapist told me, you know, all you've gotten that you've been close to a broken relationship is a pattern. Go find somebody that's got a pattern and sit under it.
Yeah.
And I did. And watch this man be a husband, watch this man be a father, and learned and got inspired, and that turned into something.
That humility is so huge, because a lot of times, like you said, you need to know what you don't know, because you think you know a lot, and what you do know isn't the right thing to know. So you have to unlearn some of that information and know that there's someone else who has a better way and who can bring that clarity and again, that word freedom, to know that you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to act like you already know what to do. Deshaun, you got a lot happening. So tell us, what is the goal for, and you mentioned something else. I haven't said the name. Tell me what it is.
Davis Land. So Davis
Land. Right, yes.
So Davis Land is kind of how everything in my orbit, it kind of exists under Davis Land. So Davis Land is my brand, that
kind of the umbrella.
It's the umbrella of everything. You know, and part of it is my affection. I've always been connected to Walt Disney.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've got an animation that we're doing that probably come out sometime next year. And the main character is Sean Walt.
Oh,
which
okay.
is Sean and Walt Disney.
Yes.
So Davis Land is just, you know, all of the things that I do. I had to figure out a way to make it one thing, or there's just too many things. So Davis Land is everything you just heard.
Yes.
Somehow, some way, it's in there, and that is an organization and a foundation of how all of our businesses exist. My fiance, you know, she has Niche School, which is a fashion, and she does jewelry. Beyonce is wearing her jewelry. What you say? Okay. And she's you know, a part of that whole structure. So that's kind of how I had to marry her because she had some money.
The truth comes out now. We've been waiting. Girl, we talking about the whole hour, and now he says the reason we do this.
I had to level up. Okay?
Oh my goodness.
No, but all of her, she's incredible, and her business acumen is all under all of our businesses and all of our concepts.
I know your mom is very proud of you. I know she's looking right now at her son, not, you know, figuratively, she's looking at her son, knowing the journey that you have gone through, all the ups and the downs, all the prayers that you had to pray for you. And so in knowing that, even as an adult son, what are some things that we as adult children can still do to pay homage to our moms?
You know, thank you for asking that question. I think one thing we have to do, you know, it's easy to point fingers at your parents. It's easy to see what they didn't do, but I think we have to restore honor to our parents, you know, and understand that, you know, everything may not have been what you thought it should have been. Their choices may have been, you know, wrong ways, and but I think we have to still honor our parents. We still have to have a regard for them that says, I value your sacrifice. I value who you are as a person. So I think every child should take that. You know, Mother's Day is coming up, you know, regardless of the pain you experience. I think it's it's so important to take a step forward and just say, you know what, I honor you. Sometimes you got to honor them by faith.
Right.
You know, sometimes
That's
you have to
good,
just pause yourself from the pain and the dysfunction that they may have been contributed for, and just give them that. You know,
That's so good.
I thank God my children did that for me. I thank God that they looked past my dysfunction and the failures I had as a father, and saw that there was a guy in here that could get it right.
Right.
And that changed the direction of our family. And now I'm looking across from my beautiful fiance, and all my children are going to be in our way. You know, my daughters are going to be standing next to her. And to think about that, it's just a restoration that comes from submitting to, you know, overcoming what you did wrong, being able to face it, go through it. It may take some time, you know, but doing that, I'd say, you know, it taught me the value of honoring my parents, because I've seen the work I've done turn into raising my children.
It's reciprocal. That's so good. I mean, because we can take for granted as adult children to move forward and say, well, you know, they shouldn't have it, but I'm going to, but it's like, honor is honor. That doesn't change. And there's only benefits from honoring our parents.
And you know, most of it
here, the living or not.
Yeah, here or not. And I think, you know, most of the ones that breaks my heart to get the bad rap of it is the baby daddy. You know, a lot of times, it's, you know, we just don't understand the psychological malfunction that's caused a lot of character issues in men. And it's easy to just throw us away. It's easy to just say, oh, he's not paying his child support, he's not doing his thing, you know. But it takes a minute. But I think if children will learn to just honor that father too, and just believe God that he can figure it out. I was that dude. I was behind in my child support, and doing all these other things, and just not being what I should have been. But the honor that I see in my kids, and the faith that they had about one day getting it right, turned into me finding the stamina and the wisdom to tap into something that could get me off of the wrong track and then become more responsible. So,
wow. What is your favorite childhood memory with mama?
Favorite childhood memory with mama? Okay, so my mama there was always a bunch of kids around our house trying to do something. But my mama used to always sneak and take me to the movies.
Oh.
And my mom was like Medea.
How did she do that?
She would tuck this out of her mouth like that. And everybody be in the front playing. She said, look, don't you say that. Go in the back and I'll pick you up.
Oh.
I remember those memories. It would be incredible. I'd be in the back smiling, just me and mama, you know. We grew up, I grew up right next to mom, you know, and so yeah, she was always there. I'll tell you one that was a good memory real quick. When I was her friend pulled up to pick her up, and I was outside standing on the porch. And back then we had those old windows where the fan would be, it's the old metal fan. So the metal fan would be out. Yeah. And the front would be covered. Yes. So she was in there on the couch. And so her friend pulled up and said, is your mom in there? I said, yeah, she's in there. You know, of course, kids would like the sound. The fan, right? And so I'm standing on the side of the porch with the metal fan, and I thought it was smart to talk to mama through the metal fan. Oh, gosh. So she's sitting in there across the, and I said, Ma, and Ma, I said, Ma. And out of my head went into the fan. Oh, my God. 26 stitches later, you know, a millimeter from my eyeball, I was almost a pilot. Oh, fuck. It was crazy. I was almost a pilot on this show. And so you mama had a connection. Mama comes running out of this and screaming. Mom, baby! You know, she grabbed me, put me in the car, we going to the hospital. And my mom was always that person. Thank you, Mom. She was always that person. So yeah. Coming to the rescue, Mama is everything. The doctor, the nurse, the firefighter. Would you still do I was a pirate? Would you still rock with? I think so. I've been a pirate up on this. All right now, we still got a lot of living to do. We speak protection though. I think he learned his lesson with his man. Oh man, Deshaun, thank you so much for coming on the show. Absolutely. I feel like it was so full. It was entertaining. A lot of information, a lot of things. Tell the people how they can stay in contact with you and, of course, get information about the Cove. Absolutely. You can find me on Deshaun, THINKDSHAN on Instagram. That's the best place, kind of where I reside most of the time. You can find me, in Jacksonville, the CoveVIP.com. You can check us out, and you'll learn more about what we're doing. The Performers Academy, where I am the director of operations. We've got an incredible project coming up this Thursday called the Arts Bazaar, where there's all kind of arts and firewalkers and music, live music. It's going to be amazing. That's coming up this Thursday.
Okay.
And so yeah, you can go to jaxtpa.org and get some information about that, or you can just hit me up at Deshaun and get some information. I'll go to Performers Jax on Instagram as well. And
I love it.
Yeah.
Final words and final encouragement for someone who may say, I have an idea for my city. I'm back, or I've been here and I've been sitting on this idea for a long time, and I'm not sure what I need to do or how or if I should move forward. What's a word of encouragement for them to say, hey, this might be the right time?
I think you have to take your ideas and make sure those ideas are surrendered to somebody that knows how to make them work. Because the Bible says hope deferred makes the heart sick. So if you got great ideas that you're continuing to see not happen, it makes you feel like that you shouldn't do the idea.
Right.
But if you can surrender that idea to somebody that has proven that they know how to make them work, it's an incredible encouragement to see your small idea turn into something big. And the city's prime and ready for it. I'm so excited about Jacksonville and the opportunities that are here. And I think if you're here, the soil is right. Put something in the ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, what an incredible show. Listen, I'm going to have all this information on my Facebook page, so that way you can stay connected just in case you didn't get that information. But as always, thank you so much for listening to the In the Know Radio Show. We're going to finish this show today with the song Go Get It. I just feel like this is a song that we need to hear, so people know that they can stay inspired, they can stay motivated, and continue to build whatever it is that God has called them to build. Listen, mamas, we love you. We honor you. And I love what Deshaun said in terms of us taking that charge to be able to honor our parents, regardless of what history has said. They are worth honor. So happy Mother's Day to you all. And we will see you next week. Thanks for listening. Yay. That was good. Was that good? And thank y'all so much for watching. Listen, I'm going to put the information about Deshaun in the video right here, and the information about the Cove. But thank you so much for watching, and happy Mother's Day.
This is a place to be. Turn your radio station to victory. But the Spirit of the Lord has liberty. Tune in to the station that will set you free. We going up right now. Please tune in. Don't touch that dial. We so blessed and you want to know how. Not talking. We just living out loud.